Hello, everyone. I know that energy is actually getting somewhere, but bear with me. But I try to make it at least somewhat entertaining. So, as I said, thank you, Stephanie, for introduction. So, I actually was working 17 years in marketing. Have once stepped to the product, but I came back to marketing, like I said, one step. But now, like 6 months ago, I moved to product, and a lot of people asking me, how does that happen? Why? What happened to you? I'm still trying to answer this question to myself. But also what I learned very fast, that the teams and the languages are absolutely different. And when we were, as a marketers, in the same room with a product, we experienced it absolutely different. And I'm trying to tell you what was that. Actually, the girls from Calibri, hey, was a nice presentation, thank you, touched this topic. So that will be a refrain. So we have been in the room. When we sit together, numbers doesn't look great, and everybody starts to look at each other like, it's your fault, not it's your fault. And you're like, finger pointing, a little bit of a blaming. Not, of course, nobody will tell it in the face, but like deep inside you understand that. But we are not a petty people. That's the reason. We are all human, and the reason for that is just the normal behavior. You've done everything in your power. You as a marketer sit and I've done my best. I have everything, I've done it. But I'm not controlling the product. Maybe there is the issue. And now you understand why it's coming from. Because you don't know this side. You haven't never seen how they work. Did they do this 100% or not? You've done it. Did they? Oh, that's a question. That's why these side eyes are beginning. But actually, this is not only the issue. When you understand that there is a plenty of different time-space problematic between product and marketing, it becomes more obvious. So, yes, we're just people from the different planets. Have you seen the Hail Mary project? Amazing book and amazing movie. And actually about two teams working together from different planets, finding the common language, having the common goal, and finding a solution. Amazing. That's like a dream for marketing and product. Who chose to be? Rocky? Oh, great. Whose team are you on? So let me go through the lessons that I learned. Like, actually, that was obvious in the first months. I need to do both sides because also there are like a lot of movements here and there. So first of all, it's the control illusion. And that's a big one. When we go to the product, they build something, they ship it, they understand it, and there is a definition of done. They start, they end. And they see directly the outcome, so they understand, okay, this is mine. Versus marketing. They don't have a definition of done. It doesn't exist. They start a campaign, it launches, they optimize and optimize and optimize, they change creatives, and it's flowing and going and going. It's never ending. Where's the definition of done? That's not exists. And of course, that's also not fully their responsibility. They can do a lot of things, but nowadays in UA, the algorithms decide. So they are not fully in control of what they do. So they can do 50% much, but the rest of the 50% is never on their side. So, but we are both teams making the best they can with what they have. So if we sit on the table with this mindset, we will become closer. It's training my mind. So, of course, that's again the refrain to the girls. Not why didn't your things work, but try to ask what do we learn together and what we do next. Because this is focusing us not from the blaming, but actually finding a solution and finding next steps to move forward. So this is like shifting the perspective from judging the outcomes to learning from them. Moving to the next one, the time paradox. And this is what's the hardest when I crossed, and actually Stephanie said in the very beginning, because this is what hits me hardest. Product lives in the future. They have roadmaps, they have execution, they moving towards what's coming. While the marketing, yes, Of course, we don't need roads. There are roads. While the marketing lives 80% in the past. They analyze yesterday's numbers. Well, they don't have future numbers, of course. They analyze numbers that are in the past, what happened before. And this is sometimes the reason because they can't meet in the middle. Because once somebody's looking in the future, somebody's living in the past. But we should. So, I'm lost. Yes. Meeting in the middle, meeting in the present. So the focus point for both of the teams. Product can live years ahead, but needs to come back to the present moment. What's you launching like next week? What you're launching next several months? And the marketing also should be dragged back from the past to the present, understanding what you're focusing right now, not analyzing the past numbers, but what would be your next project and what you're focusing right now. Sometimes it's very sobering for both of the teams to understand what are we doing now together. And the dopamine mismatch. I think this is my favorite. And what you feel good about the work. Product, it's project-oriented, as we started. Vision, execution, evaluation, ship, celebrate, next. And the dopamine hits when you ship it. You ship the feature and the team goes, woo, it's so cool. It started to get they out of their heads. Versus marketing, they're process-oriented. They live in the constant loops and loops and loops, and they're evaluating their loops and making them better, but they're never done. And also their dopamine is actually dependent on the ROAS. They, like, today they are good, yay, we celebrate it, the next day we are bad and we are depressed. And honestly, when you're depressed several months in a row, oh, that's so hard. That's very hard, and you're thinking to move to the product. Yes, we all need wins. We all need wins, both marketing and the product. And it's good to celebrate them together. And of course, we can celebrate, the marketing can celebrate the same wins with the product when we ship something. And the product can celebrate some learnings, new tests, good or bad. Even fails we can celebrate. And I do like that you can share wins and you can share fails. I do love our teams to share fails. That's amazing, actually. And to celebrate fails, sometimes it's to celebrate learnings. And that's also should be a part of the agenda. Teams. The teams are different. Teams consist of different people, and they communicate and talk to each other differently. In the product, they're orchestra. Somebody started, somebody's ended. This is the flow. You start with the game design, go to the art, UI, development, and QA, of course. QA is the most important part. I heard it in the beginning. But in marketing, they're soloists. They can master one process, one partner, one field, and they're kind of independent. They can live without anybody else. They can be interchanged. And also, this is creating silos. This is the silo within the silo. And there are pros and cons, of course, but also they understand that you cannot take the game designer from the team of 6 people, because it's one game designer. But you can easily take one UA manager from the team of the 6 UA managers, because they're kind of interchangeable. And the same goes with the growth. This is also talking to one person from the team can help or not. But they're both deepening expertise on their level. We need to understand that also the mindset. They're both doing their best. And this is okay. And the speed paradox. This is the last 5th lesson. The speed paradox is also about the timings. The product is a cruise ship. You could not say, okay, let's ship this feature tomorrow. No, I could imagine that face of the product owner, like, good luck. But no. It needs their dependencies, their planning, their roadmaps, and their roadmaps are like very slowly can be changed. But versus the marketing, which is the speedboat. Now with AI, you can create new creative trend today, and tomorrow put it in the campaigns. And in a couple of days, you will get results. So the tests can be run very fast, very speedy, and you can make changes fast. Of course, it creates one and only problem. When you come into the meeting, they're asking like, oh, why we can't do this change like in a couple of weeks? And then the product is answering, you know, we have a release cadence of 2 weeks. And you're like, no, in a couple of months, that's it. And people do not understand that, and we need to understand it. Oh, yes, we all have cycles, routines, and they should be respected. So, the small overview about that. And we see that there is a lot of issues and problems depending time, space, language, KPIs. And I'm not talking about metrics and KPIs here. That's just a whole new story. It's all about how we perceive reality. And the reality is different. How we control outcome. Do we have a full control or not we have full control? Do we live in the past or do we live in the future? Do we have a process-oriented or project-oriented people? Are they working together, the team? Or like dancing in the solo in their kitchen, and we'll be fine with that. And this is also okay. We need to find the sweet middle spots everywhere to meet each other, to understand each other better. And I think we can also find something to build this bridge. And I can offer 3 points that we can help to build this bridge. Worthy rival, that's a very important one, and Grace and Rocky had a worthy rival. They had it. Accountability and translation. Well, first of all, worthy rival. Without an external ambition, companies find enemies within. I will tell you a story. That was a very interesting story. When I was working in the publishing house, we were number 2 on the market. And we never fight with marketing or product, never. You know why? Because all of our eyes were on the number 1. What they done, which products they ship, how do they do marketing, where they fail, where they not deliver expectations to the customers. Oh, this was the best moment when they have an error and we can learn from it, ship it better. So yes, every second of our existence and work was eyes on the competition, and the worst and only competition, to beat it. And when you don't have this rival, you try to find an enemy within. Everybody needs a goal. And the common goal can be a competition to beat. Do your company have a one and only next to you competition to beat? If not, go search for one. It will help, definitely. Yeah. So make the competition a villain, not eternal companies, like not internal, not each other. Make accountability safe. And I think this thing we not always understand properly about the decision making. We tend to judge our decisions by outcomes. But this is not always correct, because different decisions could lead to different outcomes. You can have a good decision and it will lead to bad outcome, versus you have a very bad decision and it can lead to the great results. Just imagine the story. Summer 2019, you're opening a cafe, you find it's amazing, yeah, it's a good decision. And then several months, COVID hits. Was it a good decision or bad decision? It was a good decision back then. You have all the information that you had at this moment of making decision, but the outcome was not great. So you cannot do anything about the future, about the outcome, but you only can make something about making a good decision. And this is about making a good decision-making framework. So judge not by outcomes, but the quality of thinking behind these decisions. So the proper decision-making system would help you here. Ask how you make this decision. What numbers do you look at? What was your logic behind that? Argumentation. Listen to the arguments from both sides. And if you see that the, depth of decision-making is struggling, let's go deeper. Or you see, for instance, the marketing is making decisions based on purely raws and not digging into the numbers of the retention, like, rec to pace, and the product do the same. And you're like, maybe we need to change the decision-making system, but that will impact your decision quality and not the outcomes. And when you see that, you understand that your accountability can be safe here. You're showing how you made the decision, and you're accountable for that, but they're not for the outcome. And of course, become a translator. Try to sit in their meetings, just to be a human being. Listen how they talk, what metrics do they have, how they prioritize their processes, how they measure success, how they do and talk about their frustrations. We all have problems, and we all sometimes get frustrated about some things. Just take a look. They're also human, and they can share their frustrations with you and you with them. And even sometimes pat on the shoulder from each other could really help your communication. And also learn their language. That's also what I did, and I tried to understand how to talk on their language instead of trying to push my language to them. So I have a small challenge for you. If you have the same problem, not only with the marketing and product, it can be sales and product, it can be sales and marketing, it can be anything else between the teams that you have sometimes frustrations and tensions. Have a coffee. Just have a coffee and talk with the other side. Ask them the hardest thing that they do right now that probably I don't understand. And they will explain it to you, because it's alive in them, and they would happily share their problems. Definitely working. I tried. And of course, listen. Just don't come with any solutions here. You just need to translate how this can be helpful for you and for them as well. And like maybe my message here is be human. So just be a human being to each other, not to I'm not saying that we should become friends. I'm just saying that we should try to understand each other, try to talk to each other's language. And then, potentially, we can get it all together and solve the issue, beat the villain, and get all our numbers up. Let's talk, if you want to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. Do we have any questions for her? Yeah, here in the front. Oh, 1 second, and you're good to go.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for your talk. I think I learned a lot, and I think I would like to implement what you said. One question for you. You said that marketing should be more in the present, and I was wondering how marketing could do that. Asking for a friend.
Sure.
Because my fear in that would be to maybe have the future project in if you say too much what the product is like working on, maybe that could be hard if it goes into a different direction and you already say like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then it doesn't happen the way, because like the present changes until it's the future. So how could you implement that? And if you have like a good example of how that worked, I would be interested in that as well.
I think I'm living in this moment right now, actually. So yeah, it's very tender. Like after 6 months, I was implementing a new onboarding. And this was a very huge project. project. And now it's coming together with marketing because it should be aligned with them. They need to run specific products on the specific creatives with the specific partners. And at some point in time, we are starting very nicely in the beginning. It was very high on the moment just before we started the test. And at some moment when the test started, the marketing started to back up. And they're like, why it's happening? Yes, that can change, but we need to be focused. And now I'm trying to, again, put them all in the present one more time. We had plans, you had plans, we take a look on the results, let's take a look, like coming back again and again, because, like kids in the kindergarten, but not like big ones, but the smaller ones. When you let them go, they're like going in all directions, and you need to collect them. And this is exactly what's happening. You need to collect them all, come back together, say, okay, that was our goal. Something changed, why? And this is a decision-making problem. And then they say, okay, we made another decision. Why you make another decision? Tell me why. And then you talk about argumentation. Then it's argumentative conversation between you. But yeah, that could be hard, of course. Collect them and focus them on the goal.
Anyone else? Well, I have a question for you, Anna. I'm really looking forward to doing your tasks, having a coffee with another department, but sometimes it's hard to have a coffee with people who are not willing to have this conversation with you. I think you exactly know what I mean. It's not about the department per se, but sometimes about certain people, and it's really hard to connect with them or to go into communication with them. Do you have any tips on how to connect with them?
Well, if you have an opportunity to choose, start with somebody who is willing.
Well,
just sometimes like there are like 5 people and all of them are like me.
Yeah.
I don't want to. But one of them is like, I'm okay with that, and that's something to start with, and then they see that's going to spread. Sometimes you need not 1 coffee, you need 5, maybe 10, and with every time it gets better and better and better. Also, you can share why you're doing this. Like you can very openly share that I want to understand you, I want to listen to you, I want to know more about what you are doing, and that's it. So it's more about interest in them rather than sharing your story. So I think sometimes, people love to talk about themselves. Come on.
Yeah.
So just let them.
That's very true. Thank you so much, Anna, for your session. Wow, that popped up too. Okay, Kelly first.
That was a really great talk. Thank you so much. In the traditional studio setup, and by the way, I am a huge fan of InnoGames. I think that they've produced consistently some of the best games, but also some of the best people in our industry, okay? I've worked with quite a lot of InnoGames folks, so kudos to you. My question, and I love this model, but I want to know how it fits inside other studio methodologies. Because oftentimes when we're creating video games, marketing, product works in a silo. And because of that, you're making these dispensations, if you like, or you're suggesting how this should work. How do you think it fits into current methodology? Because there's no reason why you can't just come into Agile, for example.
That's a very good question, and that's very hard. I would say not every studio would be doing this like that. No. It requires willingness from the both sides first, openness to that, and sometimes it's rigid, starting with the just sync meetings, rigid meetings, but then you're getting closer to each other with the goals. And most of the times it should go also from the management. If it goes from the management that you need to talk to each other, you have to be with each other and work together, it's getting easier down. Or actually it can be bottom up as well. From my perspective, in the InnoGames, we started bottom up because we talked, well, when I was in marketing, I was talking to the product a lot, and we are trying to figure out how to make this connection work together. Then at some point in time, this became a huge memo from CEO. that the product and marketing should work together, and this is what we are doing now. So yes, that was a very hard product, and it's still going on. It will be having its obstacles, and yes, because of that, we are aliens a little bit. So we have to be working towards that actively and proactively, rather than think that the system will just magically become available.
Have you taken the initiative to tell them when this is going to happen?
Marketing or product?
But both,
Both sides?
yeah. Have you sort of said to them, by September, you will be integrated into our system?
Yeah, so no, that was mainly from the product side to the marketing. Yeah, so I found a ally. So finding the person who is willing to talk to, it's also crucial to find an ally when you can and understand how to bring this both together. And without an ally, just solo, it could be very hard. And if everyone is just saying no to you. Or you need to be very persuasive and consistent, very much. Oh, violent, yes. Sometimes I was violent. It also works, yes.
All right, we had another question here, yeah.
Okay. First of all, thank you for very interesting observation. And I work also as product analyst, so I witness many discussions between product and marketing. And luckily, we have a very good collaboration between marketing and product in our company. But still, this is a very good observation. Even sometimes it can happen like some not quite well alignments and etc. Like a different perspective, different timeline, as you mentioned. But one of your initial slides, there was a question that is marketing trying to answer, because they are doing past-related analysis, but the product lives more in the future. The question one of the marketing tried to answer was why it drops, why some KPIs drops and etc. But when you witness or observe like a product that has several releases, like too often releases, you also know that you are not always checking everything happens and you don't know the conclusions. But marketing also knows that we had several releases, we have several changes in the game and etc. But there is always this discussion and endless no answer. Why it dropped, what could have happened, we have these releases and etc. But as a person, you saw different aspects, you both been in the marketing and you've been in the product side. But so this was the crafting my question. But what I want to ask is, where do you see the balance of these kind of discussions? Because there should be more trust, there should be more everybody is doing their job, and of course there is trust in it, but you can always pinpoint, oh, is it this? Or maybe it is that. Or maybe this is small change and etc. But yeah, basically this is my question, where do you see the balance of discussion should go and how it should be directed?
I think this is again about having a common goal. If you see the drop and this is sustained, this drop is still there and we need to do something about it right now. And if we understand on whose side this drop is happening, is this the partner or is this the product? Okay, we need to do something about it. So, but it depends every time on the situation, what is going on. And if you understand who not whose problem it is, but rather who have to solve it, on whose side. Maybe it's common. Maybe both need to solve it, product and the marketing. Sometimes mediations happens on the analytics side. I like these guys. Analytics are always somewhere in between, and they're very, they don't pick sides. So they can very clearly say what's going on. And they can be the mediators here if product marketing connection doesn't happen naturally. But if it does, it's really easy for both of them. You bring in my numbers, I bring my numbers, let's dig it in together. We sit, we understand, okay, this is this problem, let's solve it. So, but analytics, yes, as a mediation is good.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Give it up for Anna. Thank you so much for your talk.